So we're just wrapping up the Jubilee event, and I managed to get myself over 6,000 of these protectors bounties. These packs which you open, which can drop you all sorts of different rewards. And before going and getting myself these 6,000, after I got my first 1,000, I went to the preview server and copied that character over 10 times, and then opened 1,000 on each of those characters after having opened the first 150, and so we max out the chances of getting the best rewards. And yeah, there's something pretty odd going on here. These were the drop rates I was getting for all of the different loot, and they clearly seem to have changed something. This was Friday I tested this on the previous server. Keep in mind, they had an emergency patch, which they had the opportunity to change it. They didn't do this emergency patch on preview. And so when I actually went to open my 6,500 of these bounties on the live server just yesterday evening, you end up getting a lot of these Jubilee feasts and these Jubilee chairs and a whole bunch of vouchers for your stronghold. And you may note, they do not exist on my drop rate table, and I was including exactly everything I was getting. So that already is a little bit odd, but we know they have been dropping in the previous years, so I'm not sure what's up. What did they do on the previous server that they didn't do for the live server? But more importantly, the coal mote drop rate seems to be far lower on the live server than the previous server. Potentially, maybe with Module 26, they actually updated the Protector's Bounties to actually give that many coal motes. And because it's not Module 26 yet, this is only this year, we're left with the drop rate that just sucks. Or they went and reduced the drop rate. You can see, I've opened nearly 5,000 here, and we've got 3 coal motes. Yeah, I'm assuming that's more in line with what you guys were experiencing as well. It doesn't mean I regret farming all this. A lot of it you were able to do very mindlessly. You'd spend hours, escorting the merchant, and otherwise you could spend more hours, AFK, coming back every now and again to either log back in or make sure you're not getting logged out, or you'd use some other means. And that way, it wasn't that hard to get these bounties. You're in an instance of 10 to 15 people. If you're with your friends, you can all take turns doing the foreign merchant and escorting him. And then, everybody else will benefit from that. And you didn't have to take much long on your turn. Like a 24-hour shift, you just run for maybe 2 hours. And then the other 10 guys, 11 guys can do the other 2 hours and you're all set. So personally, I liked that. And my results of this year's Jubilee was, 5 coal motes and this many lunch boxes. I went and grinded some more renown on my other characters, just enough to get the new mount, just because it does have the 4 slots then, so we can have some extra insignias. So we got that hand there, and we can have that for tank healers, and the insignia bonuses aren't bad either. You can also run it in DPS, like Gladiator's God, great for tank and healer, and then Executioner's great for DPS. But this is just about, if you look at what the lunchboxes are dropping you, about 1 in 3 of these will drop you a squash soup. And so that's about 18 stacks of squash soup, about 3 million worth. Will I be selling it? Unlikely. Most cases I'll just be using this myself, switching it between characters, making sure to open the lunch boxes on the characters I want the food on, like Moshi, power and maximum hit points. Useful for a healer, so I'm not going to open my lunch boxes on my DPS, because squash soup I can transfer over if I need it. Same with the Grand Summer Feast, same with watermelon, but you have other food from here that's like Ninjago, hot wings, seed bread, all bound. You can't transfer it between characters, and those 4 foods are all right to use on a support, healer and tank. But I'm pretty disappointed that the drop rate's completely different from the live server to the previous server. I still don't know, is it a ninja nerf, or is that what they wanted to do to buff them up and ended up not implementing it on the live server because it's on the preview of Module 26 server? Pretty low when I only got like 5 motes in over 6,000. We can check the tool tip here of the bounties. 6,266 is what I have opened. Yeah, I got like nearly 800,000 renown, which is great, which I got these lunch boxes. Successful event in my opinion, just for the food. But again, I'm very displeased that all the work I put into making this drop rate table is actually pretty irrelevant, because it doesn't include the vouchers that you're actually getting on the live server, the feasts, the chairs, and the coal mote drop rate seems only to be like 0.1% instead of a 0.3%, which is a massive reduction on this scale. Like 1 in 1,000 instead of 1 in 300. So just wanted to give you a quick update, and yeah, I don't regret the time having farmed here. It wasn't the hardest. But yeah, there's a whole lot of questions behind people being able to AFK this, whether that's a good thing, a bad thing, and then the whole thing of the terms of service, whether you are allowed to actually do things to prevent yourself from being logged out. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not so sure on this whole thing. I personally would like them to leave the event how it is and just update it so that the person escorting the merchant, when you hit each wave of ads that are within the circle, whenever the merchant stops and starts again, you should get like a bounty or 2 reward. So it incentivizes the person who's actually escorting the merchant. That person who's escorting the merchant should get like 3 times the amount of bounties than a person who actually does nothing. I don't see the ability to gain rewards by doing nothing as a bad thing in terms of having friends and helping each other, but it can really make it easy for people to just, yeah, leech off each other and basically not input any work into gaining these rewards at all. Another option would be private instances where you could queue up to like an instance of the Whispering Caverns or wherever, jump in and escort the merchant, or even better, just bring back the merchant to the stronghold again. That'll be great because you'll be with your guild mates and you can all help each other out there. You just have to be in alliance with other guilds that are in your friends, and you can join the stronghold that of your wish and go and farm the merchant that way as a group. Could be very nice, and you could all take turns. Hopefully you had a bountiful Jubilee. Not exactly the most exciting thing, but it is what it is. Special thank you to all these channel members for their added support, and we'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now. Oh, and as a last note, a thought came to me. What happens if you only get the chairs, the vouchers, and the feasts when you're in a guild, and they reduce the drop rate of coal motes? And so, like when I tested on the previous server, when you're not in a guild, you don't get those drops, but you get increased drop rate of coal motes. That is something I'm gonna test after this video.